Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I told you I would be back sooner rather than later. You probably didn't believe me, which I totally would understand. But here we are. Now this isn't a makeup tutorial. We'll get into that at some point in the near future. But I had a new toy that I wanted to play with today. This is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I've been looking at this online. I've been researching. I've been watching every tutorial that there is on YouTube about this. And so I finally picked it up. This is the Professional Lash Lift Kit by Stacy Lash. I'm going to give myself a lash perm today. I've never done anything like this before. I actually have really decent lashes. They're really long. They're pretty strong. They hold up to being curled with a lash curler every day, and they don't bust off or anything. So they're pretty good there. The problem is that they're very straight. They point straight down. There's no lift to them at all. And then the coloring of them, they're pretty dark near the base, like at the roots, but near the ends, they're really light, so they don't look that long. Not only am I going to give myself a lash perm here on camera for the first time, but I'm also going to tint them. I got this eyelash and brow tint, so we're going to do both on camera today. So the Lash Lift Kit, I've looked at a bunch of these online, and they all kind of look like they're the same. It seems like reviews are kind of the same for all of them, whether you're paying $20 for a kit or like $75 for a kit. It seems like they all seem to be about the same thing. So I went with the cheapest option. I got this on Amazon. I think I paid maybe like $25 for it. It had 4.5 stars. And this kit comes with everything that you need. So it comes with lash perm glue. It comes with your perming solution and like your neutralizer. It comes with an oil that you use after you perm them just to kind of like replenish them. It comes with a cleansing water. It comes with a bunch of different sizes of the lift pads, which are basically like perm rods for your eyelashes. It comes in 3 or 4 different sizes. There is they call it a clean tool, which is basically like a lash comb to kind of like comb and separate the lashes around the rod on your eyelid. And then there's also, they call the lifting magic wand, which is just another tool to adhere and separate your lashes around the rod. And then this is called the eyelash lifting kit. And this is basically a bunch of pads to lay down underneath your eyes and to keep your bottom lashes out of the way. It also comes with some spoolies and things like that. And in the past month or so, I've probably watched every single tutorial there is on YouTube. So even though I've never done this before, I feel like I know exactly how to do it. So this does come with really detailed instructions. So I will follow them, especially as far as like timing goes on the perm solution and all that. So before I do anything, there is a cleansing water that came with this kit. But I figure since I'm not supposed to get my eyes wet for the next 24 hours, I'm just going to go ahead and clean the whole area with some micellar water on some cleansing pads. Now, I'm not sure what the difference is between the cleansing water that comes in the kit and just regular micellar water, but I'm assuming that it's probably pretty much the same thing. I'll look into that a little bit further, but once I clean my eye area up, I will go in with the cleansing water from the kit and just kind of clean my lashes up with that a little bit too. Now this is the cleansing water. It has like a little plastic stopper in the top of the bottle that you want to pull out. I'm going to take a Q-tip and dip right into there. I'm just going to do one eye at a time. And in fact, I'm just going to do the first eye on camera, and then I'll go ahead and do the second one off camera just to speed things up a little bit. But I figured with the first try and the first one, I really want to do it on camera because that way it'll be first impression. Anything that I do to kind of fuck it up will go ahead and be on camera for you guys to see, so we can all learn from my mistakes if I make any, and hopefully not. Hopefully they turn out really good. Now, it doesn't smell like anything. Now, when the package came from Amazon, when I opened up the package, when I opened up the envelope that it came in, there was definitely a perm smell. This definitely smells like a perm, so I can only imagine how much it's going to smell when I open up the little container of product to put on my actual eyelashes. Now, there are lift pads. These are basically the perm rods. This one came with 4 sizes. So there is a small, a medium 1, a medium 2, and a large. That means there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I'm not going to do the largest size on mine. I'm also definitely not going to do the smallest. I have a client, Crystal, if you're watching, this is a story about you. I have a client who was just in today who got a lash lift yesterday for the first time. And you can definitely tell that they use like the smallest rod size on her. And instead of the lashes getting a curled effect, they just look curly. It's the craziest thing. So yeah, the smallest ones are definitely gonna be like so tiny and so thin on the rod size that your lashes would point straight up into the air. And maybe if you had really short lashes, that might be appropriate, but I've got some pretty long eyelashes here, so I wanna go definitely a little bit larger. Yeah, even the regular medium size is definitely pretty small there. Now, medium 2, it looks like we're getting somewhere. So let me kind of take a look. And you want your natural eyelash hairs to probably come at least halfway up. Mine are definitely way up there. I have really long eyelashes. Should I do the larger ones? We'll see. That's medium 2. The larger you go, the more of like a definite like curl you're gonna get, where the smaller you go, the more of that like really like uplifted kind of look you're gonna get, because there's not as big of a rod, so those lashes are gonna want to straight up. So this is the largest one, and it definitely has like a bigger, I'm calling it a speed bump. It has a bigger speed bump to it. The bigger the bump, the softer the curl. The smaller the bump, I don't want to say harsh, but you're gonna get a really like this, where with a larger one it's like a. So my natural lashes, when I push them up over this, they come to the halfway point of that bump. So I don't know that I would get a really lifted effect from this large one. I think that it would be a really subtle effect on me. So I think that I'm gonna go ahead with the medium 2, because I really do want it to be like a noticeable lifted effect, but I don't want it to be as extreme as like the small or like the regular medium. So I think I'm gonna go with my gut and do the medium 2, which is kind of what I thought I needed in the first place. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead with the medium 2, because I really will get a decent curl and a really uplifted effect from this. So that's what we're going with today. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the lash perm glue and you are going to paint it on the bottom part, on the back of the pad here. So the part that's gonna stick to your eyelid, you're gonna glue this to your eyelid as close as you can to your lash line. Now what you're gonna wanna do is basically the same thing that you would do when you are applying fake eyelashes, is you wanna put the glue on, and then you wanna let the glue dry down for about like 20 or 30 seconds and get tacky, and then stick it to your lid. Because if you do it before then, it's likely to kind of like slip around and move around and not really stick in the right spot. So now I am going to stick this right onto my eyelid as close to the lash line as humanly possible. I'm gonna use tweezers to initially set this down into place. So this definitely is like a little bit too long for my eye. It's a little too big. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim off just a little bit on that inner corner there. That way, hopefully when I set it down onto my eye, it'll just like hold into place better and not wanna pop off on that inner corner, you know what I mean? And I don't wanna go too crazy with how much I cut off, just a little bit. And just kind of hold that into place for a few minutes here. Make sure that it's really stuck down there. And it still wants to pop up off that inner corner. So I think that that's really where I'm going to have to start gluing my lashes down to this rod. So basically what you want to do is you want to take some of this glue. I guess you don't want to take a lot of it, but just enough so that you can stick your lashes to it. I guess if you use too much of the glue, it's going to keep the perm from working. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing because I need to keep this pressed down to my skin and then at the same time press my lashes up against this rod. And I think this inner corner is going to be kind of a pain in the ass, but once we get the lashes on there and stuck to the rod, if we're able to stick them down into place, it should be okay. Yeah, those inner corner lashes are so tiny and they're so straight. As tedious as this is, I think that this really is the most important part. You want to get in there and really make sure that those lashes are going in the direction that you want them to go, that nothing is crisscrossed and going in like different directions. Because again, like, you know, the way that you have them around this rod is how they are going to look for the next couple of months. All right, so then I'm going to take the lash perm and I am going to apply that to the base of the lashes. I'm only going to apply this about halfway up the length of the hairs. They don't suggest that you perm the lashes all the way to the tips because it can like fry the lash hair. I think that I am going to apply it to the lash tips just for like the last few minutes of the processing time, just to make sure that they do all get like nice and curled. But I'm gonna take this little cotton tipped thing here and I am going to dip into the solution. Now, I'm not using the pad, the cotton pad underneath my eye because that's just getting in the way and I really can't see what I'm doing when I'm using that. So, yeah, this definitely smells like a perm. And then processing time on this is 8 to 12 minutes. I'm going to process it for 8. And then for the last 2 minutes, I'm going to take the solution and run it over the ends of my lashes so we get a little bit of curl there as well. All right, I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so now we're at 8 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and take some more of this solution and I am going to apply it just to the tips of my lashes. Again, they suggest that you don't take this all the way to the tips. And when you're doing like a touch up, I could see you not wanting to take this all the way to the ends of the lashes. But when it's a fresh perm, and especially on somebody that has really long eyelashes like I have, I feel like it makes a little bit more sense to at least run it through the ends for a few minutes. Because if not, I feel like what's gonna happen is you're going to have curl to a certain point, and then they're just going to kind of straighten out at the ends. You know what I mean? So again, I'm kind of breaking the law here, but whatever. I'm a rule breaker. And then I'm just going to let this sit on for 2 more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and remove the solution. Okay, so it has been 12 minutes total. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some Q-tips and I am going to wipe away all of the solution off of my lashes. Now, you don't want to do this with water. You really just want to take a clean Q-tip and wipe away every trace of that perm solution off of the lashes. Now, I do feel like the outer edge of this pad is starting to lift away from my eyelid. So before I go in with the like neutralizer step, I am going to kind of put a little bit of that glue back behind it and glue it back down, and probably glue a few of my lashes kind of back to the rod where I feel like they started to pop up a little bit. But you don't want to use any water when you're wiping this off. Again, you don't want to use any water anywhere near your lashes for the first 24 hours after you do this. You really just want to make sure that you're wiping everything clean, getting all of that solution off of there. Okay, the perm solution has been wiped away and I glued some shit back down. So now we are going to go into number 2. This is the lash fixing serum. And this would basically be like your neutralizer step if you are familiar at all with getting a perm on your hair. So the perm solution basically breaks down the bonds of the hair, and this stuff kind of reforms those bonds to the rod that you have in the hair and makes the perm permanent. Now, none of these fumes have bothered my eye at all. So there's no burning, there's no stinging. I didn't have any kind of like watery eye situation happening at all. This is really comfortable so far. I mean, aside from the fact that you've got something glued to your eyelid, but again, if you were a client getting this done by a professional in a salon, there's definitely nothing that would be uncomfortable about it. When you're doing it to yourself, again, like this is the first time I've ever done it, so I'm not a professional by any means, but it's not uncomfortable, it's not difficult, none of that. So now once I get this neutralizer on there, this is going to be on there for another 8 to 12 minutes, and then I will be back and we will wipe this stuff off. Okay, so now it is time to clean off what I'm calling the neutralizer step, which is, what do they call this? The lash fixing step. And I'm just taking a Q-tip and wiping this away. And at this point, if you didn't want to color or tint your lashes, then you would go ahead and remove this little perm rod thing, and then you would nourish the lashes with the next step, which is like an oil, which I will be doing after I color mine. I can't just curl the lashes, I also have to color the lashes. So that is what we are going to do next. This is the RefectoCil in blue black. Now I've already read the instructions, and this says to mix up 2 centimeters of this color with 15 drops of this cream developer. So that is what I'm gonna do. I am going to mix that together on my little MAC palette that I have here that I use for makeup all the time. So I'm not sure how much is 2 centimeters. I'm gonna say that's about 2 centimeters, about an inch, I guess. And then 15 drops of this developer. This is in the shade Blue Black. I figured I might as well go as dark as possible and make them look as intense as we possibly can. What I am going to do is I am going to paint this on my upper lashes while they are still attached to this rod. Well, they're mostly attached, it's kind of falling off. And then once this is processed for 10 minutes, then I'm going to clean off my upper lashes. I'm going to actually tint my bottom lashes. I'll just do that off camera because I'm just going to paint that on. And then I'll come back and I will show you what this eye looks like compared to this one that has these sad, droopy eyelashes. So we're curled, we're colored, everything has been wiped off, and I think it's a really huge difference between this eye and this eye. Now, there is also this step here. This is step 3. This is the lash filler, which is basically like an oil that you put on the lashes to just kind of like condition them and soften them to replenish any moisture that would have been lost during the perming process. So I am going to apply this to my lashes now. I'm just going to take a Q-tip and dip right into that. And I'm just going to brush those lashes with the oil. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do all the same steps on this eye off camera, and I'll be right back and we can look and see how everything looks completed. All right, so lashes are permed, lashes are tinted. Now, I actually prefer the way that the right eye turned out as opposed to the way the left eye turned out. I'm sure it had to do with I was on camera doing this one, and this is the very first one that I did. There's going to be a learning curve with everything, especially when it comes to something like this. The one that I did off camera where I wasn't trying to talk my way through it and I could just really take my time and perfect everything, I really think that it actually perfected it, because if I get up close, just overall, I feel like everything about these lashes just looks better than the way these ones do. I feel like everything is just a little bit more even on this side than this side. I feel like my outer lashes on this side are a little bit more like crimped and straight up, where this one just has a really nice fanned out effect the entire way across. But I'm sure that once I do it a few more times, I'll really be able to perfect it. But overall, I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. Now, have you guys ever had a lash perm or tint? Have you ever done this yourself or had it done professionally? I feel like this is something that once I do it a few more times, I would like to add to my services that I do in the salon. I think it's really cool. When I'm wearing makeup, I won't have to curl my lashes anymore. I'm pretty pumped. I really like it. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one.